Bosnia being a country with white Muslims is kind of like an interesting thing that not a lot of people know about.
Kind of when you look at it, I don't think that there are any white Muslims, but besides Bosnia, I mean, predominantly, like most Western country in terms of having Muslims at all. Maybe that was the reason why a lot of shit happened here as well. So yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mr. This is Europe, and here is Bosnia, and Herzegovina, which is down here. Now let's take a look, shall we? First inhabited in Paleolithic times, Bosnia became home to several peoples, including Illyrians and Celts. The Romans eventually took over, and Bosnia became part of their province Dalmatia, and Christianity entered. Romans liked to retire here, but not after the empire itself retired in the 5th century. The Germanic Ostrogoths, among other tribes, swept through and conquered the land. Eastern Rome, under Justinian, marched over to reclaim the region, which it did. The seeds of modern Bosnia, however, were sown in the 6th and 7th centuries when the Slavs migrated into the Balkans. The two main Slavic tribes that came to dominate Bosnia were the Croats and Serbs, and they spent a lot of time fighting, with Bosnia switching from Croat rule to Serb rule, then back again, and so on. What no one saw coming was Vila the Blind of Hungary invading in 1136, taking control of Bosnia, but in actuality exercising little authority over it. Bosnia became a free and independent kingdom under Tvrtko I in 1377, who conquered portions of Serbia and Croatia, and made his kingdom rich and strong. But, as usually happens, his successors were not as good at leadership as he, and the kingdom weakened and ended up conquered by the invading Ottoman Turks in 1463. The Turks imposed their notorious devshirme blood tax, whereby they abducted Christian boys aged 10 and up from their families to become Ottoman soldiers and officials. One of those abducted boys became Grand Vizier Mehmet Pasha Sokolovic, who never forgot his homeland and commissioned the building of the beautiful bridge bearing his name across the Drina River in Visegrad in the 1570s. Over time, the Bosnian people largely became Muslim and were vital in supplying fighters for the Ottoman wars against Hungary. After the late 1600s, the Ottoman Empire began its long, slow decline after it lost the War of the Holy League against European powers. Nearly a century of intermittent war with Austria weakened Bosnia by loss of manpower and increased taxation. Some Turkish reforms angered many Bosnians, leading to a revolution headed by the charismatic Husein Gradašević. The people of Bosnia wanted freedom, but Serbia wanted Bosnia, and Croatia wanted Bosnia. But Austria-Hungary got Bosnia in 1878 after the Herzegovina uprising. A process of modernization and reform resulted, but anger was kindled in 1908 when Austria officially annexed Bosnia as part of its empire, leading to one indignant young Bosnian Serb to do this. Yes, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne was assassinated in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, resulting in a diplomatic domino effect of finger-pointing and war declaration, culminating in the epoch-ending First World War. After the war, Bosnia joined the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, which ended after Axis forces invaded in World War II. The Nazis placed the Croatian Ustaše regime in charge of Yugoslav lands, including Bosnia, and they proceeded to slaughter thousands of Serbs and Jews. The Serbs then formed their own resistance movements, the nationalist Chetniks and the communist partisans, and began killing Muslim Bosnians, the Bosniaks. So the Bosniaks joined an SS division and began killing Serbs. The communist partisan group, led by Josip Broz Tito, got power at the war's end and established the People's Republic of Yugoslavia, where all these divided Slavs who hated each other were united under a communist dictatorship with its slogan of brotherhood and unity, and it seemed to work pretty well for some decades. But the Yugoslav economy was built on sand, and after Tito's death in 1980, it began to disintegrate, as did the unity of the different Slavs. Old ethnic loyalties and prejudices surfaced as Yugoslavia collapsed, and the various regions declared independence. But what of Bosnia? Bosnia was divided among Bosniak Muslims, Orthodox Serbs, and Catholic Croats. These divided ethnic groups mistrusted each other and were hesitant to have one ruling over the others. The Serbs took action, and, being better armed, captured Bijeljina in 3 days. The capital, Sarajevo, was soon in chaos, with Serb forces surrounding it in an artillery siege that lasted years and blew the place to bits. Meanwhile, Bosniaks also clashed with Croats, augmenting the ugliness of the war. But Bosnia's leader refused to partition his country. He wanted it intact. Now, as the Serbs conquered more territory, they naturally encountered non-Serbs who had to be removed, even if by murder. This is called ethnic cleansing, and was most infamously seen in the Srebrenica massacre, where Serbs under General Ratko Mladic butchered over 8,000 Bosniaks. By this time, the Bosniaks and Croats had joined forces against the Serbs, and US-led NATO forces began bombing Serb targets, forcing them to the negotiating table. Peace was made. Bosnia-Herzegovina would be one country made of two parts. the Bosniak Croat Federation, and the Serb Republic. 100,000 people were dead, but peace returned. Since then, Bosnia has been busy rebuilding, and though it isn't easy, its economy is making progress. Tourism is booming in Bosnia, with over 1 million visitors a year, which is perfectly understandable for such a beautiful country. What looms ahead for Bosnia-Herzegovina? Comment below, but for now, bye-bye!
Bosnia-Herzegovina is often called Europe's melting pot due to its culture and religious diversity. According to the country's last count in 2013, Muslims make up 52% of the population. Even so, many face discrimination.
When I was hired, I notified my directors that I am a practicing Muslim and devout religious person requesting to perform Friday prayers which last 30 minutes once a week. At the beginning, this wasn't an issue, but recently I was notified that I was prohibited from leaving during work hours regardless of prayers, which goes against my constitutional rights.
Women are also often targeted based on their appearance.
Women in Bosnia and Herzegovina face discrimination just for wearing a hijab or headscarf. They are, can, or have been randomly physically and verbally assaulted in the streets. Women also face systematic discrimination, such as being refused government IDs, passports, or driver's licenses because they wear a hijab. Then there is lawful discrimination of women wearing a hijab, who cannot be employed in the armed forces or judiciary system due to their dress code. Many have filed lawsuits and won, but despite that, practices of Islamophobia remain without any serious systematic change.
Although Islam has been present in Bosnia and Herzegovina for over 500 years, the government does not officially recognize it, nor is there an agreement with the Islamic community. In contrast, Christianity and Judaism are officially recognized, leaving Muslims vulnerable to daily discrimination.
Bosnia and Herzegovina is not isolated or immune from world or regional trends of rising Islamophobia. Serbia, our eastern neighbor, is the only country in the world which does not know where its borders are and use Islamophobia as a political tool. Others may not be Islamophobic but also benefit from Islamophobia or Islamophobic incidents for their own political agendas.
With thousands of mosques performing 5 daily calls to prayer from minarets around Bosnia and Herzegovina, halal tourism flourishing, and Islamic education available, the country on the outside seems integrated, but many Muslims feel like strangers in their own homeland. Semir Sejfovic, TRT World, Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina.